Hey there, guys. This is Chief Meteorologist Ben Pine in the WHAS 11 News First Alert Storm Team Weather Center here at 3:11 p.m. on this February the 17th, 2022. And we're just kind of keeping an eye on some heavy rainfall across the area. And this rain has kind of stabilized the atmosphere. We're not seeing a lot of unstable air to create a lot of thunderstorms across the area. And it's also kept the winds that are really strong aloft from coming down to the ground. We'll get that radar back up here in just a second. So the Storm Prediction Center, they're a division of the National Weather Service, and they look across the country and look for where severe weather might happen, and they put out these severe weather outlooks. And so the higher severe weather risk is south of Nashville into Mississippi and northwestern Alabama, and that's where there is a tornado watch down over much of Alabama and Mississippi and southwestern Tennessee. And then we have a slight risk of severe storms south of Louisville, basically south of the Bluegrass and Western Kentucky Parkways is where we find that. So some isolated damaging wind gusts in that area, again mainly south of Louisville. Could see a gust 50, 60 miles per hour. So it looks like overall pretty low threat of severe weather here for us through this afternoon. Thanks for liking or sharing our live stream here this afternoon. I'm just double checking, making sure everything is streaming all right. You got all audio all right over there? Just looking over who's checking in here this afternoon. Johnny Hayes, thanks for tuning in. Paula Parkis. All right, looks like we're in good shape. So right now, 56 and 57, and this cold front's going to be moving through over the next several hours. And by 7 o'clock, we'll see a lot of the heavy rain begin to come to an end and diminish off to the east. And then we've got a polar plunge on the way. In a matter of 3 or 4 hours, we'll go about a 30-degree temperature drop down to below freezing by, I'd say, midnight or before in some areas, and we could see a few flurries. Thankfully, the winds will stay up later on tonight. They backed down so far, but we'll have some gusty winds overnight that'll dry out the roads for the most part before they could turn icy. So it's good to have some winds sometimes when you've got some of this cold air moving in. So right now we've got the 50s across the area, warmest in Munfordville at 61 degrees, and you can definitely see where the cold front is. 65 for just a little bit longer in Memphis, so down to 37 already in Indianapolis, and below freezing in St. Louis, and down to 20 in Kansas City. So that cold air is going to be racing in a little bit later on tonight. And you can see a bunch of snow in that cold air as well, from just east of Kansas City up towards Chicago, northwestern Indiana. So we're not going to get any accumulating snow, but we might get some flurries. And then again, you've got the tornado watch for areas off to the southwest. So the good news is the air is not unstable. We don't have a lot of fuel for thunderstorms, but if you look out to the west, this is what we're going to be watching. Just to the east of Paducah, there's some what we call some enhanced reflectivity right there, where you see the deeper red color. So it looks like if we do get any severe wind gusts, it'll be from that right along the front as it moves to the east. And so the best shot at some of those strong winds looks like it'll be along and south of the Bluegrass and Western Kentucky Parkways, with just plain rain across other areas. And that just plain rain could lead to some issues, though, because could see about 1 to 3 inches of rainfall totals when all is said and done. So this is around 4 to 5 o'clock. You can see some of those deeper red colors, that thin line of some heavier downpours. That's right ahead of the cold front. So watch the temperature drop very quickly as that darker red line of heavier rain moves through. So this shows 6 p.m. still in the upper 50s to around 60 in Kentucky, but look just north of the river down to 39 in Bedford and Jasper. So it's going to be a very sharp drop in temperatures this evening. We get a little bit of a break in that precip, 8, 9, 10 o'clock before we see a chance for maybe a couple of flurries sneaking in later on tonight as we drop below freezing during the overnight hours. Lows will be in the 20s. The winds will diminish tomorrow. We'll see the sunshine return to the area. And this model's a little bit cooler than what we'll actually see. We'll actually likely have low temperatures in the upper 30s to around 40 degrees for tomorrow. So perhaps just a little bit colder than reality there with that weather model. For tonight, hometown temps, so we'll see some upper teens, lower 20s in Indiana, and then some upper 20s, mid 20s over Kentucky, so much colder for tonight. And wind chills down to the teens for much of the area, with those winds still at around 10 to 20 miles per hour. And then upper 30s to the low 40s for tomorrow afternoon. Sunshine for the weekend, guys, so some good outdoor conditions here for us. We've got sunshine returning tomorrow, and we're around 25 the low Friday night, 40 the high Saturday, and then 58 on Sunday. So warming back up Sunday, 60s back Monday and Tuesday, but also some unsettled weather. We're looking at rain showers by Monday night, and then pretty wet on Tuesday. I think we get a decent break in the precip on Wednesday during the day, then Wednesday late might have a few showers return, and then Thursday looks like we'll have some wet weather as well. And this is the time of the year where things are just really soggy and saturated, and if you run into an unsettled weather pattern like that next week, we may see a lot of the rivers starting to rise, and we might be looking at some late winter, early spring flooding conditions that we'll have to keep an eye on. But again, overall, the severe weather threat's pretty low for us here through the rest of today. We're just keeping an eye on some of those areas to the south of the Bluegrass and Western Kentucky Parkways, where we might see a few isolated, stronger wind gusts. Just looking over some of your comments here. Thank you, Stuart Emerson, for tuning in. Vicki Harrison, Karen Skaggs from Hodgenville, Kelly Greider, Margaret McCain, you're welcome. Thanks for tuning in, and April Gibson. All right. But yeah, it looks like as we look at the radar once again, just plain rain for most of us, and some gusty winds. We have that wind advisory that goes until 10 p.m. That might get extended a little bit later, and then a flood watch for much of the area because of that solid shield of rain across Kentucky. And then again, just east of Paducah, this is where we see a little thin line of some thunderstorm activity, that redder color. So we'll kind of watch that as that progresses off to the east over the next several hours. But the more significant severe weather threat stays over southwestern Tennessee into northwestern Alabama and Mississippi, where there is that tornado watch, that big watch down to the south. So it looks like our air here stays stable enough that most of us will dodge any severe weather threat. All right, thanks for tuning in. Meteorologist Alden German will have your forecast and look at the radar and futurecast coming up on WHS 11 News at 4. I'll be on at 5 and 6 and 11. We'll see you then. Have a good day.